Yes, there we go again. We want to talk about smoking and drinking. You know, we talk the other day about animals and eating animals. You know, me not go eat nothing with fat or have eye and foot to run from you. I don't think so your food supposed to run from you. Now, you see the smoking thing, and we are talking about smoking including ganja. I hope a man might not believe it. Kind of me tell man this now, them I say, I lie me I tell. You know, say, me a Rasta most of my life. I mean, never smoke ganja yet. Never, ever, ever. I don't even know if I roll a spliff. Now, that may sound weird to a man because basically how a man say, boy, every Rasta smoke ganja. You still me know a whole heap of Rasta we don't smoke ganja. And the most of the Rasta them when me come up with never smoke ganja. And never drink alcohol in no form. I don't put the cigarette smoking and the alcohol thing. I never come up in a family where it says, well, my granny, but not my mother nor my father. My father never drink and he never smoke. And he's a man we keep dance. My mother never drink and she never smoke. I don't know if it's a genetic thing why it never bother me to say, boy, I have to go drink a thing or smoke a thing. But I remember the first time I drink alcohol was upon the night when my mother married. And my mother married and I go drink some rum punch. And believe you me, I drink the rum punch and knock out. And when I wake up, the wedding done. I never vexed in my life to know say me make this thing and knock me out so much that I miss my mother wedding. And me, that's what I say, boy, never again. And that I like from about 14-year-old. And I say never again. I never really have the need or necessity for go say, I go drink some drink. Not even beer, me no drink. I have to show me so totally against it. Nothing we have alcohol intentions me really want to deal with. Now, coming up in a Rasta, it even strengthened me more to say no smoking, no drink. Because I no feel say a Rasta man should have been seen smoking cigarette. That is madness, right away, total madness for a Rasta man to smoke cigarette. The herbs thing now is a thing where we grow up and see most Rasta do. But see, for me personally, you know, I don't see it necessary for really smoke ganja because me is a Rasta and feel say boy because me smoke it, me go see Rastafari more. Because I don't see no one will smoke ganja in a Rasta. I see more things than with me I see because me never smoke. So the idea of smoking is just a thing where Rasta develop over the years where it kind of makes certain people enhance them understanding of them own self. It enhances them feeling and behavior sometimes. So we continue that journey there, saying, look here, me never smoking the most of my life. Me not, the years of me a Rasta, I not going to live for that amount of years there again. You know, see it? Because that's what take me right gone over 100 odd years old. You understand? And me not see myself start something where me never do in 50 odd years. Because say, boy, because me a Rasta, me go smoke ganja. Or because I feel, you know, fun, me need a cigarette. Yet me see man do that, me see man all mix cigarette in the herbs. And me I say, what kind of madness that? Because me never did see that growing up as a Rastafari virgin amongst Rasta. Me never see Rasta man a put cigarette in the herbs. Yet till me come see Rasta man a put cigarette in the herbs and all. Which me still a try. It's mind-boggling to me, really. You know? I mean, herbs, yes, because we used to eat it, you know, cut it up like calaloto and put seasoning and things and steam it down and all them there. I talk about green herbs. And then when you're done that, you know, so you just go and easy like Sunday morning for the whole of the day after that. Because you don't say, well, that was last, you. But I don't see say in this time, you know, I would have really want to take it up on my head and say, let me try this thing to see where it will carry me. Because I feel say I carry myself go everywhere where it's supposed to go. Already at my age and all. So me don't have no intention and me not go fight against the smoking of herbs, but me not go recommend the smoking of herbs. If I wanted a Rasta, me not go tell him say, why you say from your Rasta, you have to start smoke herbs, you know. Me not go say that. From Rasta supposed to make you look into yourself, and that is when me that tell her one, say, look into yourself and see. Understand yourself as an African person. Recognize the King and Pride, Selassie the First. Recognize Marcus Garvey as a Pan-Africanist, political Pan-Africanist leader. And just go forth and do things, you know. But no, we're doing the smoking and we're doing the drinking. Irene.
Yeah, give thanks for ya. See? Alright, you know what I really want to reason there about is development within small nations like Jamaica. You know, and how we really attain what we really call sustainable development. I remember that sustainable development is not a new concept. You know, as I say, it's new words, not a new concept. Because if you look at very ancient societies, development practice was always sustainable. But you know, so with the advent of how Euro-American people deal with developing countries, development in everyone countries now, it creates a lot of problems, you know. So you have this big concern about climate change. And so in the 1980s, in the Brundtland Commission, them coined the phrase sustainable development, which simply means you can consume what you want to consume, but in a sustainable way, so you don't jeopardize the ability of future generations to satisfy their needs through consumption as well. So it's really about responsible consumption. That's the key thing. But you find that if you live in a way which is in tune with creation, the practice will be sustainable. So again, as I say, it's not a new concept, it's just new words. And when you find a country like Jamaica now, these smaller island nations now, end up in some challenges. See, to move them country forward. Because to how the global economics operate, we adopt a number of different kind of models that sometimes don't suit our own context. I mean, Jamaica in particular has been one of the countries that have gone through the most experiments in economic development. I'm kind of on my PhD work, you know, because I examined Jamaica's experience from 1960 to 2000. And, you know, so I've been doing research post-2000 to current. So in a continuous examination of the country. And if you look at Jamaica historically, Jamaica was one of the first, I think, global logistic hub. You know, when from Columbus them come here and Port Royal became that richest city, and most of the trade that was taking place in the world, Jamaica was a kind of hub. See, that's why Port Royal became Port Royal. Over time, you know, global trade and how it takes place changes with geopolitics, but Jamaica still remains a very important space. Except also use it that illegal trade. That's why it says a transshipment point. Because it is a transshipment point. See? Because the Caribbean became the center of the world trade. That's why I'm called the New World in fire. The Caribbean became the center, and Jamaica is the center of the Caribbean. Very important. And not by chance, because there is no such thing as coincidence. Jamaica is one of the largest natural harbors in the world. 7th largest natural harbor. See? And the experience of Jamaica, I tell you, so it was so crucial. And in regular history is here, man. We get light before a lot of places in America. We're one of the most developed rail transport system, because you know, so you produce sugar and you carry to the ports. So if you look at all the Jamaica map, you have beer bays and beer ports around it, straight around the island. So it's very important. So in modern day, post World War II, seeing when the man create the IMF and the World Bank out of the Bretton Woods Treaty, which was designed to support the development of Europe and America post the World War. Because you know, so Europe was destroyed in the World War, I think. So it was called the International Bank of Reconstruction and Development. After the development took place now, those banks were wondering what they're going to do. I mean, what is their role and function? And so they start to look at developing nations. A lot of those were actually those in the British Commonwealth, you know, if you check it, you know. Because a lot of them were getting independent around that time, the 1960s and thing. See? So here comes a crisis in the 1970s. Remember say World War II created problems to Europe. They were shedding a lot of them colonies under the guise of what is called independence because it became too expensive to sustain colonies while they try to rebuild their country after a war. See? So a lot of countries get independence in the 1960s, and by 1971, Nixon, I think was the president of America, decided to devalue the US currency. And in doing that, it led to a reduction in the amount of money where the oil producing countries were making because their thing was backed by this US dollar. So they increased the price of oil to try to maintain revenue intake. And that led to a global crisis. Because you know, the oil is in everything. So every price started go up. Wheat price gone up, and so you have the 1970s global shock. And so countries like Jamaica now find themselves in a situation like many developing nations where you have scarcity because you depend upon imported products to deal with the local thing. Now you know say ideas shift, and during the 1960s, 70s, there were ideas that were being developed. See, in the Caribbean, we call like the plantation economists now. Some bridging like Lloyd Best will say, if destroy the entire plantation system. That was people at the University of the West Indies writing these things, they must destroy the plantation system if nothing now going to change in the country because there's a structure that exists. Then you have some people like Raul Prebish them in a Latin America and Central America, who them call structural economists, you know, who I say there's a structural relationship between what we call the center and the periphery. You know, and that kind of structural relationship keep underdeveloped countries underdeveloped. So you have to block the structure. You have development economists, you have different economists, and you have different political ideologies. So you have leftist political ideologies, and of course, the right ones. So you have the Russia as a face, and then you have the US as a face. Now, Jamaica was practicing that thing on the call democratic socialism. What does not know democratic socialism to all? If you check the scholarship, it's actually what some of these Nordic countries practice is called social democracy. Seeing where the emphasis is on ensuring that the state have enough resources so it can actually supply the needs of critical services in a way where everybody can afford. So if you look at those Nordic countries, and by the way, those are the countries that are ranked in the top as the top countries in the world. The state take a whole of tax on people, you know. But them don't try to control private business, but them take a whole of tax on people because they provide a lot of social services. So your healthcare, your education, all these things that we are now speaking about was very important. But again, the whole contestation of the political ideologies in the 1970s, Jamaica find itself in a vibes where it was getting a lot of interference on people like the United States government. All the literature is there to show you that. Enough sabotage, because they must say Jamaica deal with communism. And then Michael Manley, who was the Prime Minister at the time. And them start say a lot of things about the PNP government at the time, but know that you have the oil crisis, then you have the wheat crisis. You also have a hurricane. I think like Hurricane Andrew. And things will mash up the country. So there's so much things that happen that are outside of the control of a country that is impacting its development process. And so Jamaica ended up being one of the first countries now to enter in some agreement between the IMF and the World Bank in 1978, and I think about $800 million. Seeing? As a matter of fact, during the 1970s, some brethren like Mikey Witter them, those are really good economists at the time in the 1970s, in response to what was happening in terms of the crisis, it was called an emergency production plan, brethren. If you look at that emergency production plan, in my own thinking, I think the ideas are some really good ideas because now a lot of the ideas that we are talking about now about food security or food sovereignty, you know, and certain infrastructure that must be done. Those things were in that plan. And where I learned now from my PhD work is that the man them, what the time was the Minister of Foreign Affairs, was David Core or something like that. The man looked on the plan and must take 2 pages out of the plan and got into some agreement with the IMF or the World Bank at the time. I can't remember which one. I think it's the World Bank. But $800 million we got. So we have to look at those plans. See? But it's not Jamaica alone responding to these things. Because remember in the 70s, enough things rising in the Caribbean, you know, where the idea of regional integration was very, 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 very strong, you know. And see places like Guyana and Jamaica, them up on the front line of these things. So you find a lot of the things relating to CARICOM might be located in Guyana. A lot of the things that relating to CARICOM might also be located in Jamaica. For example, you have like the seabed authority in Jamaica, because Jamaica, you know, have the natural harbour. You know, CARICOM head office I think is also in Guyana. See, so those ideas were there. But the point I'm making is that Jamaica entered one of the first countries in the world as a developing nation to enter into an agreement with the IMF. And we know the whole ideas about the 70s and the CIA, and then how Edward Seaga came into power and things still as a states leader. But we want people to look at some things, you know, because in the 1970s, the PNP government created a lot of social infrastructure development programs. Very important. Healthcare, education, housing trust. You know, I work for those what we call essential services. See? But you know, you get interference again from the external forces. Now, here comes Edward Seaga. And Edward Seaga have a different kind of philosophy. Because he must say, all right, you must free enterprise and what Jamaica grows. You must say, make the market drive it. Because it's a part of the economics what we call the neoclassical framework. Something that I don't necessarily agree with because it assumes away too much reality for you. See, but that was the promoted economic principle. I remember I have a master's in economics. So I learned my first degree and second degree in economics. So I learned a lot about the neoclassical framework. See, and the ideas behind it. So Seaga was moving on those things. And because of the role that Jamaica played in terms of the geopolitics now, Seaga actually became a face for those international development partners like a IMF and a World Bank. See? And so during the 1980s, despite the fact that Jamaica never passed any IMF tests, we get a lot of funding. And we did move from $800 million to about $5.8 billion US in the 1980s. And we know how I can do that because under the IMF agreement, we cut a lot of public expenditure, so you had a lot of outflow of Jamaican skilled persons like teachers and nurses to the United States. They become unemployed. But they became the heart of Jamaican diaspora remittance that actually have been from now, you know. Strange as you might see it. Because outside the 1950s, when you had the mass migration for deal with the Panama Canal, the next big migration was in the 1980s. And over teachers, so even now when you have teachers and nurses still going away, it's starting from that time. And you know Jamaican people stay, we go foreign, we start work and things that happen. And we link with sister and we're bridging out here and organize that thing and across generations. And it grew and grew and grew till Jamaica have a very strong diaspora made up of nurses and teachers, which are now retiring and coming to Jamaica at this point in time as well. I'm bridging Mommy and one of them nurses and things to still seeing. But that created a real shock in the Jamaican development trajectory. But we still suffer from right now. Interestingly though, you know, so at the end of the 1980s in a soul, Edward Seaga made the man them know, say, watch out now, I'm not doing these things anymore because it's wickedness. I'm not too wicked. So him get to that Edward Seaga. But what did Edward Seaga do in Jamaica in the 1980s? Because I grew a jungle, you know. I know that Seaga was a man who grew up for dislike. I like to grow a jungle. But when I done my PhD work now, I start, I get outside of the political space. As a youth, I observe. Because I sight how geopolitics go. I'm going to say, all right, I'm looking at what Seaga that do. Because Jamaican people, I don't know, wicked people, you know, they have an idea what they want to do. And they genuinely believe that these things can work. So what Seaga did was to strengthen the financial sector. The first entrepreneurship program for what they call small business. You know, an ant man. Them that call it solidarity, and the man fight it down now. You pay me for talk about nano-enterprises, but Seaga that talk about solidarity. When we talk about integrating technology into agriculture out of Spring Plains, Seaga was doing that with the Israel people. We know Israel are going now, but in the 1980s. So you see those things were some forward thinking thing. He bring up heart, NSTA, with a skills training place. I know that skills training is actually even more important now than even some of my degree program, you know. Because you're moving to IT age, so you talk about coding and robotics and animation. That's even hard. NSTA is one of the leading institutions that provide those kind of training services almost free, you know, to people. Seeing? So I say, you know what going on now? Jamaican people are careful now. And people in other nations are careful because them color your lens. You dislike your people. And you see the look how bad will happen. And you don't sight any of the good. So here is Michael Manley who built up all of the social services sector. Which will follow upon still because I say IMF thing, but it will put in place structures and system. And here comes Edward Seaga now who strengthen the financial sector. I need both the economic and the social to engage in a sustainable development framework. And so because we blinkered by politics now, a man cuss Siaga for everything. Then a man cuss Michael Manley for everything. And we lose sight of the greatness of what we actually put in place. And despite all the madness that happened since 1990s, because when they took out Siaga because of the statement that he made about those things being wicked and brought in back the PNP government under Michael Manley, Omar Davis, as the Minister of Finance, engaged in the most rapid opening of an economy that the world has ever seen. Jamaica became the most open economy in the world at one point in time. Wholesale liberalization. But some of the negatives, because I'm going to show you what Edward Siaga doing. But the economic policies were not in keeping with what the development was really needed. That's my tell you. So we still suffer from that. I call it a shock. A shock implemented by IMF policies during the 1980s has handicapped Jamaica's development to this point in time. But that same process had continued during the 1990s. It's in the 2000 now. We started some things. It's Jamaican people are phenomenal people, you know. The man them realize, all right, we have to get off of this IMF thing. Them get off of IMF. And we start to put in place our own measures and across governments. That's why politics have a bun politics. Because across different governments, they maintain the policies. Till in this time now, when you do economics, them say, if you have a stable economy, you need to have some, what we call macroeconomic variables in a certain range. Unemployment, inflation, interest rate, exchange rate. One more, I remember the other one. And right now, Jamaica have those under control. Jamaica's reserve has reversed its debt to GDP ratio. I remember I say Jamaica, we started $800 million. By 80s, we got reach $5.8 billion worth of debt. And it continue until we cut off IMF. And nobody thought it could have been reversed. Matter of fact, when Greece had their challenges and was in a whole uproar, people thought that Jamaica would have a bigger uproar because our situation was worse than Greece. And we reverse it for you. It reversed. And you ask yourself now, so all of these things are happening. But we still not see the kind of meaningful, positive impact on the life of the general population in the country. Because remember, say the same people, you know, hold it, you know, we say hold it. We no man say, boy, we can't increase wages. We have to try to control inflation. We have to do all of these things. See? The people in riot and Jamaica is a rioting country, you know, for you. No joke thing, you know. From enslavement, the INA brought down the whole enslavement system. Read the history book and you'll see white people afraid of Jamaican people. See? After Haiti, them say they don't want the next Haiti because they thought Jamaica would have been the place that revolted before Haiti. I know the role of Bookman and them man in the Haitian Revolution. So them say they don't want the next Haiti, them start to put pressure on Jamaica. Because it's a rioting country, see? 1938, you had a riot across the region, Jamaica had a very big one. 1968, you had Walter Rodney riot. 1998, every 30 years, you have a riot in Jamaica. And the people them hold it across those period of time. See? So it's not just a state. A policy work because of the people in the country. That's why the policy work and things still. But we don't see it. And this is where we really want to get into the discussion now. See? Because in economics, I will learn that you want to do things that endogenize growth. Endogenize growth means you want it to depend on the ground. You want it to impact people's lives on the ground. So when a man make money now, you want the money to circulate amongst the people. So the idea, what we know is that when you support big businesses, most of the money probably don't stay in the country. For example, if a man own a hotel from Spain, he not give money in Jamaica. He must make money in Spain. But even the man who owns some big company in Jamaica, which way I take the bag for the money? You check that some man who own the bank the money in the Jamaican bank. The man who own the hotel, you think for the money stay in the Jamaican banks? So really, the people who have money stay in the country, and the people who control what we call the micro, small, and medium enterprise businesses, and for them money stay in the country. And usually, the smaller the business, is the more likely that the money will stay in the country. It will stay in the community. So you really want to make those businesses grow. The micro, small, and medium enterprise, we call the MSME sector. So you'll hear a lot of discussions internationally saying that the MSME sector is the backbone of a country. See? And when we hear that now, what comes to my mind is yoga. See, like yoga for you. And in yoga, them say the master pose in yoga is the headstands, called the elixir of life. Them actually claim so when you do the headstands, it actually reverse aging process and all those things. It's slowing your heartbeat and a number of things. If you go online and read, you see all the benefits of doing a headstands. So in a headstands, you know, and you see the illustration, in a headstands, your spine, those are the MSME says your backbone, your spine crucial because your spine have to be erect. But how you maintain that straightness in the spine, which is crucial for actually do the headstand. It have to do your core. Your core have a solid. Because without the core, you can't maintain the stance. So if you think about the economy now, if we know that the MSME, the micro, small and medium enterprises, are the backbone of the country because of them how make the country sustain. I mean the smaller business we are talking about now, you know. What help them to sustain them operations? What is the core of that ecosystem what we are talking about now? Yes? What is the ecosystem? Because that's the core. So you can't do a business like how you have your business now. But you don't have no support structures to help you to grow your business. It's not going to remain stagnant. There's an ecosystem, there's a core that allows you to maintain the posture of the headstands. And this is what we want developing countries to know. We can always push the idea of businesses. But if the structure that exists to support them is not robust, is not solid, it can't be effective. It won't endogenize growth because the outcomes are suboptimal. So a Jamaican case, in Jamaica you have some institutions, you know. No matter which business you do, these institutions are important to support you. The first will be the Jamaica Business Development Corporation, Ms. Vieira and her team. See, they have the mandate to build out all micro, small and medium enterprises within Jamaica. But when you do a business, so while JBDC can help you with developing your financing thing, them, your marketing, your operations and the human resource, putting together these things from concept to market. In that process, you have to meet certain standards or have certain formulations. If it's formulation you deal now, you have to go to a place like a Scientific Research Council, which is a SRC. Other countries have their own institutions like that. Then for standardize, you meet local and international standards, you have to go like a Bureau of Standards Jamaica. So, in my head, that triangle of JBDC, SRC, which is Scientific Research Council, and the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, that is the heart of the ecosystem. Now you have enough other institutions, you have a place like a SDC that deals with small businesses. You have DBJ, Development Bank of Jamaica, Development Bank of Jamaica provide financing support. You know, RADA, a lot of the MSMEs are linked to the agriculture value chain, 90% of them. So you have all these heart NSTA, and we can reason about them some more. But that core, and what I'm saying now is that, you know, if those entities, when we say build up the ecosystem, provide support services to small businesses, but them under-resourced, how are those businesses going to grow? You can't go in at the headstands because the core weak. But note, you know, these institutions, because I have to interface with them, they know what they're supposed to do. They have the brain inside and the leadership in the organizations, but they don't control their own financing. So if you say the JBDC that we have 50,000 MSMEs in Jamaica, currently we're supporting 10,000 of them. This is not, don't tell us as factual, we're just as an illustration. If you say to JBDC that we have 50,000 MSMEs, and we're currently supporting 10,000 of them, and we want to expand the support to 30,000. What is one emerging question? Are you going to allocate resources proportionate to the amount of new business that you want to form so JBDC can provide that service? The answer is usually no. So you say the people have to grow the whole sector, but do have the resources to grow the sector. Have you watched me fire? So while we're creating this nice macroeconomic framework and supporting big businesses in Jamaica and many developing nations, we don't support the institutions that build the people on the ground, that can really move the country forward. We have not done that. And the Ministry of Finance under the government are the ones responsible for those things. See? So, a man will say, all right, in Jamaica now we're creating what is called a special economic zone area. Really good idea. Those people have some really good ideas as well to still see. And the thinking behind that is that you want to encourage investors who are going to engage in export in Jamaica to be a part of that program. See? Which I like it. But I ask myself, there's some international agreements that go on that still. But I'm saying to myself, just as how you have the thinking, say you can create a space like that where when you're a part of the SCZA, you don't pay certain duties, you don't pay certain taxes, you don't pay all of those things. Well, we can't do the same thing for the micro, small and medium enterprise space. Because there's no guarantee that the money made by the SCZA is going to stay in Jamaica, you know. Remember that we are arguing, you know. I am arguing, say you must build out the people who you're certain say when they make money, the money is going to stay in the country after they make the money. Because that's how the country will grow. And we resource the organizations that support these institutions enough so they can really do the work what they want to do. I'm kind of tired of hearing people criticizing negatively some of the institutions in Jamaica because I realize that people don't really understand that it's not, so the people don't have the brain and the commitment to do the work. But you can't get people basket to carry water. You can't expect people, a case in point might be like a social development commission where they have the mandate to build communities. But you don't have no real budget. You have 780 communities, but you don't have no budget. And who's responsible for that now? And you require the people from the organization, but not knowing, say, boy, this still the Ministry of Finance don't give them no budget. How can we spend over $47 billion, say, in the Ministry of National Security budget? And when you compare like a local budget, it's nothing. What you should have done is reverse it, because if you spend $47 billion fixing the local government space, probably you don't even spend $47 billion on the national security. You understand what I say? Suppose you took out some of that and say, okay, let us pump some of this in the business development space. What kind of transformation could actually take place in your country? So I am saying for you, say, problems in developing countries can be solved very easily. Jamaica in particular, areas you can look at is agriculture, contribute about 8% of the GDP. See, but if you look, agriculture can be doubled up so easily. So Jamaica import like a 7 million US dollar worth of peas, $7 million US dollar worth of red peas or something like that. And so red peas in my yard, red peas grow within 6 weeks. So it's not a hard sector to move forward. And there are a lot of plans in the bridging. If Jamaican people and developing nations know the amount of plans that are there, Jamaica in particular, good plans that are there, plans that are being implemented. But we find out that we in a country where these guys rather depend upon international donor partners to finance all of these programs than to take money out of them own local funds to finance these programs. So you have IDB doing local work in Jamaica, USAID, Cameroon Bank, the OAS. I mean, the amount of entities that are doing really positive work in Jamaica. And you say to yourself now, say, all right, so suppose the Jamaican government could have matched these programs then. You know? The tourism enhancement for the Jamaican program, them do some work. Heart, do a lot of work too, you know. See, but you see the entities we have like the ACS, Heart, NHT, TEF, them doing a lot of work, but the other entities now don't have no resources. And what they have to do, which they have done, is to do partnerships. But at the same time, they still not support some currencies like a JBDC or SRC. When an NHT or Heart support a person in business, and they must get support now from JBDC, they don't have the current capacity to take on all of those people. They don't. So you have one set of institution who have the funds, who are doing good work to build people. You have a next institution who have the structure and the skill set and the leadership to help people, but them don't have the money, so them don't have the human resource, them don't have all the operational resources that we require. And so we make it look like this thing of development is a real challenge. It's not a challenge. I think people have to shift their mindset You know, if you claim that MSMEs are the backbone of the economy, you have to support both the MSME, and you have to also support the MSME ecosystem. You have to support the small business, the micro, small and medium enterprises. We have to also support the institutions that have a mandate to help to build out those micro, small and medium enterprises. Very, very important. Now, you see now, many island states like Jamaica face the same situation with climate change, like a lot of other developing countries, but also developed nations. I mean, climate change affects everybody. When you find like a country like Jamaica and some of the islands, we have a habit of building our communities along the coast, because you know that's how you go. I mean, if it's a sugar country, you're up on the plain, because that's where the plantations be, so most of your ports up on the coast. And of course, you find the communities are built along businesses and things still. See? But climate change, people can easily see how coastal communities are going to be at risk of certain things, of flooding and all of those things. But there are so many other issues that the people have now see with this climate change. That's why I find I say, it's Rastafari live fire is a thing. It's an ethic and a practice for sustainable development, you know. Because while we can see the erosion element, there are some more subtle things that people now talk about, which is how is that the heat impacting people's life. And what I mean now, so check in these countries now where we have high levels of lifestyle illnesses, what them call non-communicable diseases, you know, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease. All research actually shows that the climate change, the increased heat making those things worse for the people in origin. Cancer people, all those people at greater risk because of increased heat. But want to the youth in our classroom that they decide for stop people from stealing things, so they make it out of some big concrete, some small, you know what, or private school structure them. You know? Those small little holes in the window. Some go fancy holes, but some small holes inside it's still hot. How it work out? How that affecting the youth them brain? How that affecting them oxygen intake and oxygen flow? You know, when you on public transportation, seeing if the public transportation is set a particular way with certain cooling system, how people, I remember when we have bus in Jamaica, you know, them bus are ramming on fire. Before climate change, bus ramming up. I know man DJ about bus in Jamaica. See, the general trees them DJ about bus. Until them bus lean when they drive. No, the place was so hot. What gonna happen now? And I think you get a lot of respiratory illnesses because of all kinds of things in the atmosphere. But the thing that I think is most concerning for I do fire, what I'm tell about Rastafari right now is this thing with microplastics in people's clothes. Because remember say money make up things like polyester, lined things, you know. You see me I say some nylon things as well, you know. And the research showing that the microplastics coming off in the people. And those are usually things that are what them call more readily affordable to people who have low income. They're usually cheaper. And to them that people bloodstream. But as the time gets hotter, you can't wear no plastic. Remember say plastic can sweat out in the virgin. But you see how long now fire show what you know, you must wear natural fibers. Long before climate change, I know Rastafari that talk about these things. Wear natural fibers. So the man even start showing you about how these natural fibers, the electromagnetic frequency and what resonate with yours. Like a man say, boy, hemp and organic cotton have the same frequency of the human body and things like linen have some high frequencies and actually helping reorganizing electromagnetic frequencies in your system, you know. So you usually use it for medication, etc. You know. So those natural fibers are there still. So you see now what will happen with businesses. Because businesses are going to shift now from these oil, plastic-based things to things that are more natural, because the whole earth is going in that kind of direction. See? People must observe, you know. Look at the kind of fires that is taking place in Europe. Look at the kind of floods is taking place in Europe and America. Just there, a place in America flood out. They must say Them used to think that. I tell them to get on my phone. As a matter of fact, let me go into a thing and show you that article where the Virgin them send in our PHE group. Now, this is something where a Virgin named Prof. Clayton has sent into the group. And here say, nowhere safe. Shattered Asheville shows stunning reaction. See? You must say no. Nestled in the bucolic Blue Ridge mountains of western North Carolina and far from any coast, Asheville was touted as a climate haven from extreme weather. Now the historic city has been devastated and cut off by Hurricane Helene's catastrophic floodwaters in a stunning display of the climate crisis on limited reach in the United States. Now what you know, Virgin? You thought a hurricane that was a category 2 and by like over that it was a category 4. That will reach them people here. The man also argue that the next war in the world that will UNICEF because of migration due to climate change, you know. And people understand what that means. No, I go on Jamaica and the Caribbean. There's some good things going on still enough for you. When I compare what I see happening in Jamaica and the Caribbean to what I go on in Europe and America, the difference is phenomenally large. When you see some fire burn in Europe for days, months. If that happened in Jamaica, I woke up to burn down long time, man. So note that the climate change that take place. If we get leak, we get a big leak. But I see some places I get some big leak. So I start to wonder now if people still start thinking about where are the most safe spaces. And Jamaica is a safe space for them long time there. That's why the party believe out here. Because the hurricane come, it have a well hard for really mash up Jamaica because we're in the center. So it's still technically a safer space than most spaces. The Caribbean, my extension, might also be a safer space. Just so, you know, we know about Jamaica, but I think about it. And I wonder now if there's going to be this migration that UN speaking about. You know? Where are the safe spaces? Because I map them out, you know. Are we mapping out our places? See, how we know, say, a place like Guyana and Belize and Suriname, because my mainland, them don't really get hurricane. Suppose you have increase in hurricane, you have increase in demand for lands in those places. See? The heat, how did the heat? One time I'm saying in Miami, the beach was so hot. In the summer, the people couldn't go into the water. And a man if go into the beach, we go cool down himself during the summer. But we don't find that in my river, them in the mountains still. Even on the hottest days, the river them not hot. Matter of fact, you like when the hottest day because sometimes you go to the river them well cold. So in the hottest days, the water will come. Have you understand what I say? So we have to be aware of the climate change, you know. But we also recognize that while things so bad in many countries and also in Jamaica, we still have some things we have to start, and so we take it more serious now. I'm going to start thinking about it. How we are designing houses, because we have more hurricanes that take place. So you have to follow a long time people who design houses because they know, say they design a round house, the wind go around it fast and don't block. People know that in Africa. So the design of houses are going to be important. The height of the roof are going to be important because you want breeze to apply through. The windows are going to be important. You know, the material make it to be important because you want breathable material. So we talk about hempcrete as against regular concrete because they say hempcrete is a breathable material. See? Them say earthquakes are not caused because of climate change. But I think say with things that happen generally, you might even have increase in earthquakes taking place. You know, I say climate change are caused out. You can see. I have my own thinking about earthquakes, you know, as it relates to like wars and bombs and when you drop those things what happen in terms of energy flowing through the earth and causing earthquakes with plates, shifts and things. But all these things have been taken into consideration. Where you eat is the next major issue. So in the midst of all these challenges now, they must show you that even if you eat out of the plastic, you have an issue. But worse yet is that the food itself, the nutrient density of the food tends to be low. So there's no real nutritional value In a hope I think the people might eat. So it's like a man belly really full but him still hungry. Because when him need, him not getting. So you see all this food security, but more importantly, food sovereignty becomes important. It's like when Rastafari tell a man say self-reliance and collective security. That two words sound, one by Haile Selassie and one by Marcus Garvey. Them two ancient, they popularized those sound, you know. Extremely important. That are the principles on which I do everything now. I life as a researcher too, you know, in the era of entrepreneurship, you know. That's the pillars I use now. Self-reliance and collective security. You want to have an independent, diversified and sustainable income stream as an individual, but as a collective to know we become stronger. It will become stronger. Yeah. The idea of collective security and self-reliance. So, when you check it, your food, people like to talk about food security, which really speaks to access to food. But, do you have access to food all the while? You must have access to food all the while. Because you go on with COVID and with the war, them say if you depend on a guy for sending food to you, and you think, oh, my food secure can have easy access. No, it's a joke. Because you find so when something broke out, like a war broke out, though, like if it's a war broke out internationally, where you think about people depend on other people for food. You're not food secure. But if you're food sovereign, if you control your food now, if you control your food, so I tell you about the 1970s, where the man say, feed, clothes, and shelter yourself. There's a 1970s philosophy, you know, where the man them condemn, you know, and say it's communism, you know, bridging. And right now, we have to say, oh, we're going to feed, clothes, and shelter ourselves. We still have these things under the SDG, say zero hunger, zero poverty, access to clean water and sanitation, gender equality, clean energy. We have about 17 ideas, and all those ideas link back into what Rastafari say, and what was being advanced by certain people in the 1970s. It's not a regular market economics thing around the world now enough for you. It's shift now to a more kind of enlightened approach towards. It's actually a combination between the Jamaica in the 1970s and the 1980s with a conscience. You understand what I say? So when I say social issues to be in place, economics in place, and you must think about it in a collective way. So, how we are check it now? Are we designing our programs around that kind of self-reliance and collective security as a country? By extension, I doing it as a region. Because you see what going on right now, you know, for you. Right now, some guy out for start the next war with them one another, you know. See? America and Israel are two countries at war with some people here now in the Middle East. And you know them people stay as family, you know. Because I say America is a family of the whole European country, them, you know. Especially the one them come out of Germany and them places and come down to England. America is a direct child of England. So you realize everything where America do with the man them support it in the United Nations, the European people support it. So if this war broke out now and think, what go on? Just the war in Ukraine the other day, made them not worry about food. Now when a bigger war broke out, for a while, what gonna happen? No, Jamaica, as far as I'm concerned, and the Caribbean, should not have a problem. Because everything that we need to consume, when I say want, and everything we need for consume in terms of food-wise, can be produced efficiently within the Caribbean. Everything. As a matter of when you check out some of the information, it will show you that in Jamaica, they claim that over 40% of the food produced wasted because of lack of post-harvesting facilities. By extension, you find that amongst developing nations. So nearly, let me say 40 enough for you. More than a third of all of the food that you produce. If you go by a mango tree for you, see? So he's a man like East Indian mango. Like I like Millie mango then. Millie mango is a mango I like. So I go buy a Millie mango tree and I get off 10 mango. Half of the tree. And when you check it out now, 3 of them mango they have in worm. And 7 good. You say, what you know? Oh, so much worm in the mango them. And those 3 at top, but you say, enough in night. See? You can't use those, you know. Now imagine now when you work and you build 10 things. And because you don't have a resource now, you can't use 3 of them. You have to dash 3 of them. It'll go waste. Now how much people that 30% could actually feed? Or 40% could feed? If you just have harvesting facilities, you know. If you ask yourself, tell me what is the main staple consumed by Caribbean people? I want to say it's rice enough for you. It's rice enough. You check if you can eat out the rice when you produce a Suriname. You check if you can eat out the rice to produce a Guyana. Haiti produce rice too enough for you. You check if we can eat that off. So how come we have a region where we have an agreement in Caribbean where you have people hungry? You think they can plant out the amount of land in a Guyana we can plant out? Or in Suriname? I mean there are agreements, you know. Right now in Guyana there's an agreement, you know, what them call the JAGDI agreement that whereby as a Caribbean national you can actually get access to land in Guyana for farming, you know, Virgin. And you know, big money we are talking about, you know. So even a government now can say, okay, we want it. Guyana gave Trinidad I think 40,000 acres of land to plant rice. And there was like a concern with some Trinidad farmers and make nice about it. But I am saying the Guyanese government gave the people 40,000 acre land for plant rice. You take some we have to eat a 40,000 acre rice in Jamaica fire. It's enough rice that you know. Plus Jamaica itself have over 30,000 acres of land between, I was told, between St. Catherine and Clarendon. Farmland that is not being really utilized. So you see, so sometimes when we think we have a problem, we really not have as big a problem as people think. Because this tractor that take to clear them land there, you know. And you can't tell me we short a tractor because the amount of construction I take place in Jamaica now. With D9 we can clear some big tree off of the land. Then it's easy to get the other farm tractors then for plow up the land and set it because those technologies are there. Just as you can have agreement with Guyana, with China or America or any country that make tractors and those things. You have agreement to do other things. You can make agreement to them for the other for supply farming equipment. Why are we not doing those things? Why are we not doing those things? So you find that as a country and as a region we face problems because of failure to act by key decision makers in the country. Not by the people who suffer because of those decisions, but the man them who offer themselves a service to the countries. Them really, it's not lack of brain. It takes a lack of brain. I more feel like a lack of heart and interest, you know? Like a brain without heart can lead to growth. Because you can use your brain and make money in the country growing, but it's not going to lead to sustainable development. Because when you make the money now, just one stamina benefit. So I find you have to think with your brain to make the money, but you have to make decisions with your heart. So you know that it impact the most people in the most positive way. So our region not short of brain, we're not short of money, we're not short of resources. As I'm bridging the area, I say you need the right face in the right place. And the right face means that the person have the heart, not just the brain, but the heart to know so when we decide things, we're going to decide it in the interest of the majority of the people in the country. Yeah, we need to do that. And it's unfortunate because Jamaica in particular is a country that have a reputation as being a kind of truth and rights country, you know. We deal with equal rights and justice globally. But I find that in our own country now, that we don't have no justice surrounding economics. There's no justice surrounding social development. You know? That thing is absent. You find us we treat those things which are really, really, really important for Jamaica development as a kind of peripheral thing. Seeing? And so if we go forward again to why they start, you see if we swear, I may talk to Jamaican people now in particular. You see if we look at what Michael Mann did in the 1970s with those social infrastructures, and then we look at what Siaga was doing in the 1980s with the financial infrastructures and the skills training, and look at the target for those things, the target. Because I feel no way, you know. Remember, say Siaga that deal with big business, you know. Michael that deal with big business too, you know, for you. No matter if you say Michael never deal with big business people, you know. But the emphasis we are talking about now, you say we look at those two particular emphasis and merge them, give our current economic situation in terms of how we have certain things stabilized. That's why we have all the number one stock exchange in the world and them thing there. Because remember, say right now, you know, for you, the problem that Jamaica faced in the 1970s, you know, with the debt to GDP ratio, you know, that big problem is over 155 developing nations face the same problem. That's why it is important for I blacks are sold upon the MSME sector, you know. So Jamaica, what Jamaica was experiencing 40 years ago, fire, there were 150 odd countries right now having that same experience. And Jamaica is a country I use, but Jamaica reverse it. But every country is not Jamaica. It's a different kind of people in the country, you know, for you. Jamaica is different because we can hold certain things, you know, because how we're growing, you know. You see it? And I say, no, now that we hold it in the country, reverse. Look at the good things that was happening in the 1970s. Look at the good things that was happening in the 1980s from those two prime ministers who became the face for the globe in a different philosophy and ideology. And so if we can bring our own thing, because we know we see as Jamaican, we can put our own thing together and when we set it, it's set properly. And set it and see what will happen. I tell you, Virgin, if we do those things below the MSME sector, public like the National Net International Reserve out of that, we have billions of US dollars have, and so we're going to pump some in the ecosystem for kind of for entrepreneurship and MSME space and agriculture. Because we can do that. Because if you have a threshold, we must maintain a pass the threshold, you can use the rest to invest. Because if you keep money all the while and withdraw, it's a contraction for the economy. It's only you spend money, the economy grow. So if we say, all right, let's got the NIR, and if we know where our threshold, we say, all right, to save for a certain period of time, we can look at what's above the threshold and say, can we now invest that? Remember, I'm not having guitars grand now. Can we invest that in the JBDC and the SRC and the Bureau of Standards and the Social Development Commission and all those institutions, you know, the 20 organizations that work under the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, you know? We do some really good work too. The TAJ and them places, some other entities, TAJ, it comes after Jamaica. If we build them out, will we see a real reversal in the country? I have no doubt about it. I know. If you build out the ecosystem, as I was showing you with the headstands, the core, if you build out the core, and you continue to support the MSME and amplify the support of the MSME, guided by the policy that the Ministry of Development, because they have a nice MSME policy from 2018 and just revised the other one just now. Guided by the policy, the country got to turn on. But to take the will. And so the Minister of Finance, whoever is going to Minister of Finance, is who you have got hold responsible now, you know, because remember that these institutions, though, them can send in a budget, but the Minister of Finance is the one who finally approve the budget and things still seeing. So if we want to see that shift, it will take a shift, I think, that the mindset of decision makers, but in particular, the Ministry of Finance and those who advise the Minister of Finance, and when them conclude and say this is what we are going to do, those are the persons that hold the key. But I think all the other people are doing them for do already. The small business people are play for them part. The state institutions are play for them part. All of them are constant and consistent resource constraint. See? They call the social service sector people, them like the foundations and the endowments, them think I play them part. All international donor partners, even if they have them own agenda, but still see them do a good work in the country, I play them part. And beyond I know decision makers, me attack particularly in places like the parliament, see, and the ministerial space, within the parliament and the ministries them. I don't see why the key ministry, in particular the Ministry of Finance, can play the part we have to play, which is to make sure, say, resources are allocated to the areas that bring the greatest reward to the greatest number, and to the areas that ensures when the money is made, the money stay in our country. You know? That's what we have to do. Anytime we make a decision, we have to ask ourselves, when we spend this money, how much do we make back on it? And when we make the money, how much of it is going to stay in Jamaica? And the one who make the most money stay in Jamaica is the one who must spend on. Otherwise, I lose, I waste the money. Because you have support a man to take money out of your country, and that don't make no sense to I, you know?